The air cap 1.3 tip. Once again, you're a little bit close with the wall of air test, so it is quite a close gun to use. It sprays phenomenal, absolutely wicked. I had issues with my SATA 3000 where the gauge in the side, a few months of working, packed in. I thought, oh, it's just a battery, put a battery in, no good. Sent it back. SATA, fantastic service. I've got a friend at SATA, Mike Stevens. New gauge in, back out to me 2 days later. Fantastic guy. He's helped me a dozen times with issues that I've had over the years. There aren't that many issues, to be fair, but as soon as you say there's an issue, he's on the line. Let's get it sorted. Sorted the gauge out. So this time I chose the pod type gauge, the atom gauge. Plugs on and just lifts on and off. Can adjust it here. Little gauge, lifts off a docking station. That don't get washed, that doesn't get wet, that doesn't get anything as it shouldn't have. Wicked little thing. Also, they do the docking station for this, so that guns that don't have the micrometer set up in the top, you can actually put like a conventional air pressure gauge on the bottom, and this docking station slides into there. Brilliant idea. So once again, you only need one gauge for all your guns, so it's brilliant. That works great. I found the setup that comes with great for solid colours, as I say, the 1.3. For the metallics, troublesome metallics, I've said this before, silvers, golds, things as you're looking at and think, oh, I don't really want to paint that because that's not going to blend in. They did address that fact, and they brought out a water-based WBS setup, 1.25 in size, slightly different porting on the air cap. That will put down golds, silvers, all your troublesome colours. Absolutely stunning. No issues whatsoever. So you do need, again, if you buy just the one gun, HVLP, you will need to use the water-based setup for some of the metallics. Not all of them, but some. So it's good to have it in your arsenal when you're buying your gun. Right, last gun I'm going to talk about today is the Beast. It's on the internet, everybody's talking about it. The SATA 5000. Once again, I did have the RP version in the 4000, so I thought all I'm going to do to start with, because I didn't know how this was going to paint, I'll change up my 4000 RP for 5000 RP. And what a tool. Stunning looking gun. It's actually what they sort of called, I think patented it, the Pearl Chrome. Surprisingly easy to clean, but it doesn't leave smudges all over your gun, which is a great thing. Once again, same choice of nozzles as I've done with all of them. Clear coat gun, 1.2. This obviously is the RP version, the blue ring. Once again, 1.2, get as enough paint out the gun as you want. If you want more orange peel, turn your pressure down very, very slightly. It doesn't take much at all, 0.1 of a bar, 0.2 of a bar, that's it, and it'll change the orange peel effect. But it also, if you want to wet it up, quarter or half a turn out on the fluid control, back to square one again. Fan control, fully open. It's designed to work fully open, this 5000, which was the problem with the 3000 that I had. I'd done a demonstration on one of these videos a couple of weeks back, 3 weeks ago I think now, and I showed you with the little Iwata that I was using, correct pressure, atomization of the fan is great, consistent right the way throughout the fan. Brilliant, no problems. If your pressure goes up slightly, you get a great big fan and a hollowness in the fan where there's no material. Now what I found with the SATA 3000, the RP and the HVLP, when you opened the fan control right up, it like overfanned. It didn't come to a stop and say that's the maximum as it's going to spray nice. It went well past there. So now we've got a scenario where we're doing lots of sampling on the wall of trying to bring that fan controlled back in by about 4 or 5 inches, I think, off the top of my head, and then slow down the fluid tips. You had to choke the gun down, choke the paint down, to get it looking right on a fan pattern. So then it's because it was narrower fan, it put the paint on quite wet. It was consistent but quite wet, and this is where I've made my assumption that all the guys that I'm watching painting on YouTube, there's a guy called Starterjet 3000, Starterjet 3000. Yeah, I think it's Starterjet 3000. No, Starterjet 886, 883, 883. That's right. He's a Harley man. So that's right. Starterjet 883. I commented to him on his page. He was working bloody hard to put down lots and lots of paint. The gun was just washed about all over the place. And I thought, you know yourself, when you're trying to paint, you're trying to get the reflection of light in the panel and actually watch the paint sort of melt into the surface. Going that speed, you can't. It would just be guesstimate. You're there with a visor on. You're there going like this over the gun, over a bonnet or whatever. It's too fast. You can't see what you're doing. You get to the end of the panel, then you stop, and then you have a look at what you've done. It's not the way to paint. When you paint, you're watching it all the time. Where you stand, where your gun is, there's a light source in between, and you're watching that reflection of a strip light or a spray booth light in between, and you're putting that. It's like rolling out a piece of cling film. Is the easiest way of saying it. It's like laying out the tides, as I call it. You just lay the paint out really nice, really soft, and you can see it as it goes on all the time. You can pace yourself in that movement. If you feel that you've stuttered a little bit, gone too fast, gone too slow, you can correct it at that time without having to try and flow it over after. As the paint goes on is where you want to be looking at the paint. And with the older guns, you just couldn't do it. But with this gun, extremely civilized. Yes, you can wallop on a load of paint. If you've got 15 jobs to do in the booth today, it'll wallop on a paint. But it's so civilized, you can choke it down, nice choking down, not over choking, and it sprays. It's like powder. It's like a dust. It's just, and it's on. It's brilliant. So, top marks of Sato. That is absolutely wicked gun. Once again, this one, it's probably used it 8 or 10 times, I suppose now. Only doing little bits and pieces really at the moment, but. It's so civilized. You can do a small part as well as a big part. It's just brilliant. And the finish, it does clean easier than full chrome, and it's hard to explain because obviously it being a pearl chrome effect, you would think the surface looked at under a microscope would be slightly rougher, but there's something about it that it's not. So that the paint doesn't stick to it. It's really great. Right, so I hope that's sort of given some of you guys some clues on what guns you'd use. So once again, a bit of a recap. One-off gun, you're just going to do 20 jobs a year. The Vilbus, brilliant. It isn't worth spending extra money to buy the other ones. All the other guns, pair of each. Base coat, clear coat, base coat, clear coat, base coat, clear coat. If you clean them as I do, in a proper tank, and you basically sterilise them each time, take them out, needle is all out, wipe clean, back flushed. If you clean them right, there's no contamination going from one to the other, so there's no issue. If you're in a high productive workshop and you've got a row of guns, put your sealer guns in one place, clear coat in another, base coat in another. That's the best way of doing it. So yeah, so what you do need is a pair of guns, a few different setups, and the world's your oyster really. It's a very nice thing to do, is painting. Job satisfaction is terrifically rewarding. You get something that's either been crashed, rusty, bent, scratched all the pieces, and it goes out like a new car. Job satisfaction is one of the best. It's really good. So I'd encourage anybody to come into this trade and to do what they can. It's a very very nice place to be, making things look nice, new and shiny again. So I hope you've picked up a few bits and pieces. If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them. I'll package these back up, put them back in the boxes now, and wait for the next job to come in and go from there. I hope to do some more videos. I'm still waiting to do some plastic parts, techniques and materials to use. Also, as I said before, I was going to get a wing or a fender in here and just show you some tin work and show you about e-coatings and things. But what with the weather and bits and pieces at home, lots of jobs coming on with sort of lots of cleaning and things to tidy up now after the winter. I'm running a little bit behind, but I hope that's been worth a 10-minute sort of gabble on. But all the best to you guys out there painting, and I'll see you again soon. Cheerio.